What are the best frame control techniques? Frame control is a wonderful tool. It can be used in sales, in coaching, in any kind of verbal debate. And recently I had a comment on my channel that was, I think, summarizing it pretty well in terms of the definition, that one. And to that, which was really well written, to that I would like to add in this video some simple mental process for how to use a sleight of mouth in real. Because usually they tell you in most videos or seminars about this, they tell you what you should look like once you have frame control, what you're supposed to look like, looking like this guy, that guy. Yeah, but how do you develop that? When you start from zero or when you start from not being that good, then what do you do to develop that skill? And this, in my opinion, comes more from a mental process, much more than the actual body language behaviors you have or the actual language patterns you have. It starts from the inside. So I have a very simple 3-steps process for you to develop that ability to always maintain the frame coming from your inner game, coming from the inside, instead of trying to pretend as if you had the frame, as if you were holding the frame. But what does it look like from the inside when you are legitimately holding it and there is no question about it? The first step of the process for this is to ask yourself, it is a series of questions, to ask yourself which result do I want to get from that interaction? But be precise, specific about it. You are going to enter that coaching session or sales meeting or debate with that person, whatever situation you want to use frame control into. Think first very clearly what exact result, what exact behavior or attitude do I want from the person in front of me, or the people in front of me if it is with different people. What is the exact nonverbal and verbal response? What will that person look like once you will get the response you want from that person? Will they be agreeing like this? Will they change the tone of their voice? What will happen specifically? And once you get a very clear picture in your mind of that, of this response people will be giving you when they will be agreeing with you, when they will be jumping into your frame, once you have a clear idea and picture of that in your mind, then you can, step 2, ask yourself, what would be true about their perception of me? What would be true inside their own mind about their perception of me in order for them to give me that kind of response? What would they think of me already if they were going to give me that response anyway? Would they think that I am authoritative? Would they think that I am somebody who deserves a lot of respect? What would they be thinking about me inside their head? And all those phrases, you can write them down if you want it. You can treat them as affirmations if you're used to that process of, doing self-hypnosis with affirmations. You may do that, it may be an idea. But as soon as you have your list of affirmations like that with I am the way that person would be treating me if they were agreeing with me anyway, once you have this list of affirmations of how you want to be perceived by people, I have another recommendation, which may be weird if you're not used to that process, but something I think would be easier to use than just repeating affirmations and more useful, because when you are in the interaction with the person in front of you, there are so many things to measure if you want to look at body language, if you want to think about language patterns, if you want to notice in their tonality some change. There are so many things to be aware of that on top of that, rehearsing constantly affirmations about, oh, I need to be perceived that way, I need to be perceived that way. I think it's going to be way too much overload in your mind when you are interacting with the person you want to have frame control with. So instead of that, what I am recommending, and once again it may sound weird if you're not used to that process, but I am recommending to create a mental symbol of those affirmations, of how you want to be perceived, of how you want to look like. Maybe you can choose an archetypal character. James Bond is the kind of characters lots of people want to emulate because of his frame control abilities. Yet him or maybe some other character you may have in your head, see it in a movie, or maybe it's just some mental construct. In NLP we use sometimes symbology. So when you take all those affirmations of how you want to be perceived by the person in front of you, then you can start to build a mental construct of a symbol representing those affirmations, representing that version of you that everybody would be responding positively to, because he or she has so much frame control that everybody just agrees naturally. Do you have a symbol in your head? If I was asking you to put a color and a shape on those affirmations, or a color and a shape on the feeling you get when you know you are that person, that charismatic person that everybody responds to positively, could you put some symbol like that in your head on that feeling, on that charismatic person you are becoming? Would there be like a blue triangle? Would it be a red sphere? Would it be a purple oval? How could you describe this symbol? And this will be completely weird and non-logical at all, which is the point, because your unconscious mind usually responds much more to symbology, to symbols, to abstract ideas instead of very clear conscious ideas. So rehearsing affirmations may have some use sometimes. I just prefer to use this symbology stuff because from my experience at least, it triggers much more the unconscious processes than just boring affirmations. It may help sometimes, but I prefer to use symbology. I like it more. So once you have this symbol in your head, and a symbol may, as I said, just be one character from a movie who may be representing what you want to look like, maybe. Or it may be, well, I like to use this symbol stuff like a red triangle or some sphere, whatever in your head may trigger a sensation inside you of being that person, and then you just focus on that as you are interacting with the person. And by focusing on that, first of all, you are staying in the present moment instead of getting trapped into your insecure feelings of, oh shit, what should I say? What do I have to say? Oh no, he's controlling the frame. What do I say? No, you just pause and reflect on that and just focus on that symbol, and this symbol will allow your unconscious mind to trigger the right resources to get back into this frame control attitude. This is, I think, the best technique I know, one of the best techniques I know to develop that skill mentally. Because once you can produce that state within yourself, then the right sentences, the right language patterns, you will find them automatically. You won't even have to think about it consciously at this point anymore. You will just find yourself sparkling them all the time, the right things to say at the right moment. You will say that naturally because of that mental state you are into at the moment. Maybe you may start to, in the beginning, you may have some trouble to maintain that state over a long period of time. You may be distracted, the person in front of you may be aggressive, and that may be scary. It's okay, it's just the beginning. As you practice that, it will become easier and easier, and at some point, you will just naturally find yourself doing it without any effort anymore, and you will just control the frame without any effort. Also, another thing, so this is the process, the 3 steps process. And another thing about the intention people have behind what they say. Very often, if somebody is trying to steal the frame from you, or trying to provoke you, or is being aggressive somehow with you in the interaction, instead of answering directly, what you could do, and that is another mental process that may be tricky to do in a real conversation, but I can guarantee this helps a lot. Or you may do that at home after the interaction happened. You start to imagine yourself as a floating soul getting behind the person you are interacting with, or that you are interacting with if it is in the present. Like a floating soul moving behind the person you are interacting with, and imagining that from behind you can see the real intention of that person. Most of the time when people attack you, or aggressive with you, or just resistant to you, they're actually protecting something. They're protecting something they don't want you to look at, or that they don't want you to find out about them. So once you can get behind them and look at, what was the actual intention of that person when saying that mean thing they told you, or when saying that, that statement that was very difficult to react to because it was putting you off guard maybe. Once you can get behind them and imagine, you can see their intention from behind, then it will be easier to say something that is helping you to make them see your point of view under a new light, if I can say it that way. You will find much more easily things to say that will help you to change the perception of that person, because you will target exactly what is that about. Maybe not mentioning exactly what they are insecure about and trying to protect. It might get them even more defensive. But adapting your sentences, adapting your words, maybe softening by, I'm not telling you this or that, the thing they are insecure about. I'm not telling you at all this or that. It's not about this, to let them protect their insecurities. Actually, it was about this and that. So you are redirecting their negative, defensive mechanism, and redirecting to something else that is to your best interest. That is how you maintain a healthy communication, even with people who might be overly aggressive or overly resistant in some way. And if you're capable of doing that during a conversation, it is also helping you to detach yourself from the potential insecure feelings you may be getting during the interaction, where you may be like tense because you don't know how to react to that person who is scary or resistant. And doing that mental process allows you to detach yourself for a split second from the actual scary feelings or confusing feelings you may have during the interaction. You get out of your own body, you imagine, you see the intention, and you get some new insights about what to say and how to say that. Now, if you want to learn more about how this whole technology works with the language patterns, with reframing, adapting your sentences depending on the person in front of you, I can suggest you directly to click on the link down below with tons of exercises and explanations for how verbal frame control and language patterns, NLP, hypnosis works in conversations, so that you will be able to control, or at least adapt your communication so that you can always suggest things to people who might be resistant otherwise.